Welcome to our presentation, where we're going to discuss and analyze the advantages and disadvantages of the reduction of the voting age from 21 to 18 years in Malaysia. Some may ask, why is voting such a big deal in a democratic country? Well, growing up living in a democratic country, many are familiar with the term voting. Voting is introduced to make elections fair, where we elect supreme leaders to lead our country for a better future, improve standards of living, and to make our voices heard as citizens. It is fairly important for every citizen in a democratic country to have their right to vote. As many say, our future is in our own hands. We know what we want as citizens, we know what is good for our future, and we know what is good for our economy, and not forgetting the younger generations. As the Supreme Court said in Westbury and Sanders, no right is more precious in a free country than that of having a voice in the election of those who make the laws which a good citizen we must lead. Other rights, even the most basic, are illusory if the right to vote is undermined. This means that every single citizen living in a democratic country has a right to vote. However, in Malaysia, at least 1.5 million adults were denied the right to vote. With such a large number of citizens being denied to vote, the future of Malaysia will never improve, but will only remain at a complete standstill as the majority of the voters are considered as senior citizens. Luckily, a change has been made. On July 16, 2019, Malaysia successfully reduced the voting age from 21 to 18 years.
After the Independence Day of Malaysia in 1957, the minimum age to cast votes stated in the Federal Constitution Bill has always been 21. However, the age of majority has been 18. An article in 2008 by New Sunday Times titled "Bar Council, No Need to Lower Voting Age" surfaced. This article included the response of the bar councils regarding the lowering of voting age to 18, and they also pointed out that before making such amendments, there are much more important issues that should be resolved first, like the large number of young people who were eligible to vote but had not registered despite the fact that registration was open all year round. Mr. Ragunath, the former Vice President of Malaysian Bar Council, pointed that the way forward should be to make voter registration compulsory at 21. He also said that the existence of laws such as the Sedition Act 1948 and University and University Colleges Act 1971, which is also known as UUCA, prevented young people from expressing their political opinions freely. Amendments would be needed to create suitable platforms for youth to formulate and express their political opinions freely in order for the issue of lowering the voting age to take precedence. Years later, Undi 18 or Vote 18, a Malaysian youth movement which initially started off as an online petition, appeared. Its aim is to raise awareness on youth democratic representation as well as the lowering of the voting age from 21 to 18. Many political parties, as well as former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, supported the proposal because he also thinks that Malaysians between the age of 18 to 20 are suitable to make wise decisions when it comes to their future. And finally, on July 16, 2019, the Constitution Amendment Bill to reduce the voting age from 21 to 18 was passed with a total of 211 votes in Parliament. This allows Malaysia to join the majority democratic countries in the world to give their 18-year-old youth their rights to vote. The bill also includes automatic voter registration, as well as lowering the age of candidacy. According to an interview with SAIS, Syed Saddiq, the former Youth and Sports Minister in Pakatan Harapan, said that this amendment is made to ensure that the youth have a say in the country and that the future of the country will not be only determined by the older generations. It is still not clear whether much changes were to be made to the political industry since this amendment, as the next general election in Malaysia will not happen until the year 2023. It might bring a huge impact to the political industry, as many youths mirror what the older generations see in more developed democracies where they tend to rebel against the ruling parties. Next up, there will be a mini discussion on our views regarding the pros and cons of these amendments.
Hi Penny, how are you?
Hi Nia. How to say? I don't know. Complicated.
What's wrong with you?
Well, it's not entirely that something is wrong with me. It's just that there are things going around. So like, there's this thing going on in Malaysia where like the voting age has been reduced to 18 from 21. because like it has always been 21 since like the very beginning. So I'm not too sure how I see it.
Well, for me as a Zambian, 18 has always been the minimum voting age, and to be honest, it's not as bad as you think it might be. There are really some advantages to that. Like, for instance, when you lower the voting age to 18, I feel you create a much more creative and political environment where the youth feel that their voice is being heard. And, because of that, youth will slowly start getting interested into politics, because we know most youths are not really interested in politics, but that's another way of, involving youths and making them interested. Yeah.
But I feel like those young 18-year-olds, like those youth, is still like uncertain. Like there's still an uncertain phase for them to fulfill their responsibility when it comes to election. Because like honestly, I feel like they can be easily influenced by everything that's going on around. Like for example, if they were to see something online and it might just change their perception towards a particular like a particular party, like even they can even be like tricked by politicians or influenced by their friends and family. Like they would just blindly vote and not have their own stand. Like they don't have their own thoughts, like their own thinking, their own like what they want. They don't really know what they want. So I feel like if letting an 18-year-old vote, it's more gonna be like they're voting because their friends are voting for this person, their family is voting for this person. So I honestly think that they can be easily influenced by others.
Oh, that's a good point. That's true. But an 18-year-old is not as young as you think they are. An 18-year-old is able to make decisions like of their own. Like I did some research not so long ago, and I found out that in Malaysia, an 18-year-old can actually be tried in court. An 18-year-old can drive. An 18-year-old can marry in some certain circumstances. And I thought to myself, if an 18-year-old can do all these things, then why can't an 18-year-old vote? Because you also said something about say lack of better terms, peer pressure. They would vote because their parents are voting for this person, their friends are voting for that person. But I think since it's the first time 18-year-olds in Malaysia will be participating in voting, and I feel we all start from somewhere. We all have to learn. We have to pick up something. We all make mistakes in life. But being like I would say, voting for someone just because your parents have voted for that person, well, in my defense, I think that's all right if you don't know much about other political parties and obvious reason to why your parents are voting for that particular political party. So we all start from somewhere. It's more like plagiarism. Plagiarism all start from somewhere, especially if you know nothing about a certain topic. So yeah, you slowly learn as you grow up. Like you slowly know which political party is better for you as you grow up. But as of now, I think baby steps are what you guys need right now, and what I also need because I'm also a youth than 18.
But don't you think like what you said, plagiarism? So I feel like actually voting is more about what you want instead of what other people want. So let's say you think that it is okay right now for 18-year-old to follow blindly whoever their parents vote or something like that. Don't you think like it might actually affect the country's future? Like what if they voted for the wrong party? And what if their vote, because every single vote makes a difference. So what if like the vote that they made actually made a bad impact to their future? Like it actually like it's not a good thing, like it changes the country's future. What do you think about that? You still think that it's okay?
Well, obviously that's not okay. However, I would say it's too early to start thinking about the effects of this new amendment that has been made in Malaysia. Right now, it was just implemented not so long ago. It was just last year in 2019. And I understand that you are scared of what the future holds, but at the same time, being able to, just go with the change. You really don't know what bad or good things that can come out of it. But for me as a Zambian, an 18-year-old voting, and majority of the people in Zambians are youth. So it's not really such a bad thing. Like, youths can think for themselves. They're not as young as maybe a 4-year-old child who doesn't need like parental guidance, like strict parental guidance from their parents. However, an 18-year-old can think for themselves. An 18-year-old can make certain decisions for themselves. Just like what I said in my previous point, if an 18-year-old can be taken to court, then what about voting then? Why can't they vote? Because I feel they can choose between right and wrong. So obviously they would have to find more research containing the same thing, containing about the same political party, whether they are good or bad. And obviously they've been educated about it. Obviously the Malaysian government will have to educate the Malaysians about it. So I think I really have strong hope and faith that they'll make a right decision. I do believe in Malaysians, actually, especially the youth.
Okay.
Plus also, youths of today are highly exposed to technology, and therefore I feel informed decisions because of that.
But honestly, I think not all social media like promotes good things. So people said like not all media is good media. So because youth nowadays, they spend so much time on social media, they actually get all the negative things. So when something is good, can be said to bad, something is okay. For example, something is like it's positive, it's good, but then like someone popular in the social media, when they said that, oh, this is bad, so all the youth tend to follow his perception. It's just like example, a popular YouTuber, let's just say that he is against this thing and he does not like this particular political party, and he says something bad about this particular political party, and those youth who watched his video, they might just follow blindly. Don't you think so?
Basically, let me just get that point clear. Basically talking about fake news being spread that youth may follow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to answer your question with another question, all right?
Okay.
So, Penny, do you know who actually spreads fake news on social media? Do you know?
Well, okay, honestly, I hate to admit that is true, that most adults, like those uncles and aunties, are the one who actually spread fake.
No, it's true. Yeah.
fake news.
I won't lie. It also happens for me back home. It happens, yeah. Well, basically, obviously, when adults want you to do something, and obviously, put in a lie here and there. But basically, that's what it is. You are afraid that Malaysians, 18-year-old Malaysians, in general, let me just talk about the youth. That they can make the wrong decision when it comes to voting because you feel they are not, they haven't yet grown up in their mindsets about it. And you gave me an example of the fake news. Fake news does exist, it's true. However, it's the same adults that create the same fake news, all right? So it's the same adults that you think will make the right choice that create the same fake news. So, I feel like, as a youth, you are entitled to choose. You can choose between right and wrong. You can choose to follow this person or not. No one should stop you. You're not always going to make right decisions. As a young Malaysian youth, you're growing up, you obviously have to make some wrong decisions on your way up, and we all learn from our mistakes. So obviously, if you vote for a wrong particular party next time, I'm sure during the other elections you think, okay, no, because this and this happened, then yeah, I'm not going to vote for that party again. So that's how it is.
So you're telling me that it's okay for you to risk the future of our country?
Well, I'm not telling you that. No. However, I'm telling you that we don't know what the future holds. All right. Be a risk taker. All right. It's good to be a risk taker. You learn from your mistakes. You're not always going to make the correct choices as youth. You obviously have to go somewhere in order for you to know where you went wrong. So I'm just telling you, get more information about political parties as Malaysian youths. Get more information about them. Ask people you trust who are wise enough, who know better than you do concerning political parties. Ask them where you don't understand, and try to gather as much information as you can, so that you won't regret your decision about voting. And voting isn't such a bad thing. I'm voting next year. We're having elections in Zambia next year, and I am so excited, at the same time nervous to vote, for the fact that it's my first time. But yeah, I'm looking forward. It's the first time I'm ever going to vote, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. And yeah, it's going to be something to remember.
Just like honestly, to me, like although I am at the age of voting, but I didn't vote because I feel like the current education right now does not give us youth the basics to prepare us to comprehend politics. We're not educated enough regarding politics, because I would say the education system in Malaysia, they don't really fully expose us to politics and all. Because I am not sure, this is just my personal opinion, my personal thoughts. I am not sure whether discussing politics in public, if it's legal or illegal. That's why it makes us scared. So it makes us feel like, should we even, talk about politics? Should we even have a say? Should we even have our view? This is why it's it's actually closing us, youth. It's preventing us from going to vote and stuff like that. And also, we are actually unfamiliar with voting. We do not know how to vote, and we might even get our votes void and stuff like that, because the education part, it's just not enough. When all these things will only happen, let's say when the general election comes, few months before the general election, and you see all over social media people talking about this political party, that political party. This is why I kind of disagree that this amendment. I disagree to this amendment, because I feel like only that short span of time, when it comes to election, only we are being exposed to political parties. Only we are being exposed to how does politics work and this and that. So yeah, that's just how I view it. But we've got to agree and disagree, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's very much true. However, Penny, what age do you consider a person an adult?
At what age do I consider a person an adult? Okay, by law in Malaysia, 18 is considered as an adult. But to me, I honestly feel, because I'm being put, all these things have been being put in, honestly, I don't know about Zambians, but as a Malaysian Chinese, all these things have been put into my head, especially being a girl, you're only 18. When I was 18, you're only 18, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. When you're 21, only then you can go out, only you can do this and do that. Then we have curfew and everything. So it has been something that is being groomed. I've been groomed to think this way. So I personally think that only 21-year-olds will be mature enough, will go through enough things to make them feel like an adult.
All right, I hear you, and I do respect your customs and beliefs. But for me, as a Zambian, for you've been taught that 21 is the age of adulthood. For me, according to my Zambian culture, according to the schools I've been to, I've been taught that 18 years is actually the adult age. That's the time you're mostly considered an adult. And in some countries, for instance, the UK, England specifically, where an 18-year-old is supposed to move out of their parents' house, because they believe that you've reached adulthood now, you can now live on your own. So basically, you said something about the education system, you guys are not taught as much. What I have to say when it comes to that is, okay, when you reach 21 years of age, I understand there's a time you're about to vote, but I'm certain that most people who are age 21 don't really know much about voting in Malaysia, because we're not taught about it. Maybe a few do, yes, but most people don't know. So I feel if the voting age is reduced to 18, then this is the time to start teaching the same 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds and a lot more who are eligible to vote about what they need to know about voting. Not when they turn 21, that's the time you start teaching them. I feel that's like a little bit to start teaching them. That's the time they're supposed to be voting, actually, not learning about voting system. They're supposed to even be educating the younger system, the younger generation, sorry. So that's what I feel. I also feel, when you incorporate young people in youth in the political world, it's like, just like what I said earlier, you create a much more created political environment for them, where you can address certain issues to them, like maybe certain issues that are supposed to be addressed to the youth. Will get the deserved airtime that it deserves to get. And something I have also noticed about this happens in almost all countries. I wouldn't just put on Zambia or Malaysia, yes, but most of parliament seats are taken by people who are aged somewhere like in the late 50s, maybe even 60s, even 40s there as well. So you don't really have youth who represent you out there. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity for you as Malaysian youths to at least have someone to represent you out there.
So you mean like bring like modernized changes to Malaysia's future? Is that
Exactly.
what? Okay. Yeah. Well, that was like a great conversation with you. So I'm gonna put some thoughts on whatever you have said, but also I actually did like a survey regarding this question. Like I did a Google survey form and I sent it to a few of my friends. Some of them did not want to voice out their views, but they actually did the Google survey form. So apparently the result is quite shocking for a Malaysian. For me, being a close-minded person, apparently out of 54 responses, about 78% of them actually agreed. Like they feel like this change is good. Like they agree to the amendment. Yeah. So, well, everyone has their own thinking, right? If I'm not wrong, you also asked your friend to actually spoke a bit of their view.
Yes, I actually did. And in the next video, you see what the person had to say about it. Mind you, I had to ask some people who were not Malaysians, however, were studying in Malaysia.
Okay.
About their views on it. Yeah, I mostly asked people who have the minimum age of voting as 18 in their country. So, yeah, you will hear what they have to say.
Yes, voting age is very important because it improves youth awareness by the government, and it makes youth to participate in election, because they will think that the government is aware of them, and the knowledge they have in the election system, they will be able to practice it and participate it. And also the reduction of voting age, it makes people to understand that the world is changing, because the intelligence of olden days people is totally different from from the understanding of the present situation of people. And if the voting change is reduced, it has no any impact, a negative impact, because the understanding of age of 21 aged person former is also, I can say, is the age or the understanding of present 18-year-old will be greater than the former 21 person.
As a Malaysian living in this country for 20 years, I don't think it's a good idea to lower the voting age to 18 years old. This is because in Malaysia, there's no proper exposure for the teens given regards to the political updates by their parents or the schools. It is true in a way that Malaysian education system prioritizes exams more than the things that could be helpful for the teenagers in real life. The only source of information that a teenager under 18 could get is from social media, and we know that the things that we see in social media might not be always true. So if the voting chance is given to an 18-year-old teenager, then there's a high probability that the teenager will make an uninformed decision that could ruin the country's democracy.
So, after hearing what the others have to say and like the mini conversation we had, so to conclude this, we both agreed that this amendment is a baby step to make our voices heard, but it is also a big step for us to feel included into the adult world. The age of majority in Malaysia has always been 18 since the Independence Day. This shows that the Malaysian law viewed that an 18-year-old is mature enough and can be responsible adult to carry out basic responsibilities like obtain a driving license, sign legal contracts, be tried in court, and even get married. So they should also be able to cast their votes and have a say regarding the future of the country.
Yes, that's true, and I agree with you. Also, as Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was once the former U.S. president, on the role of 18-year-old voting rights in a democracy, quoted that we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. No, therefore, parents and adults in the society need to trust us, young people, and give us the space to discuss the important topics, as we, the young people, are mostly educated and we have gone through a lot, especially being mostly exposed to the digital world. We understand even more when it comes to the future of our own and our younger generation. So we are well aware of the economy and the changes that need to be made in order to bring our country forward. So thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Missing someone